tribal dance.
All right, welcome and namaste. So good to see you guys here today. So Monday, when we first met at the beginning of the week, I was inspired by my son teaching me how to drum a little bit. And that made me start thinking about Shiva, and Shiva is often depicted with the drum, and how when he's beating the drum, it's about letting go of the illusions that the physical world puts upon us, letting go of the ego that tends to creep into the mind, but it also blesses us opening up into the spiritual realm. That's what the trident that he holds represents. The beating of the drum is about stomping out ignorance and negative energy and toxic people and things that are holding us down or blocking us from spiritually evolving. He's considered the one of destruction, the one of liberation. And I want to continue with Shiva today because Shiva is the one about destruction and dissolution. Think about the fact that we are moving into this full moon in a couple days. And a full moon is about culmination. A full moon is about illuminating certain things that maybe haven't been seen or quite realized before. And it can also be a time for release. And so anytime we open up or anytime we release something, whether it's someone or something, or even an idea or a belief or opinion, if we move through that, we open up space for something new. And I was listening to a podcast yesterday regarding this particular full moon being in Aquarius. And it was saying how there's a portal of energy opening up to us right now. And a lot of people are going through ego deaths, and a lot of people are going through massive shifts and changes. Well, we've already had a lot of massive shifts and changes, just universally speaking. And this may or may not apply to you at a personal level, but this portal of energy is an opportunity to release something, but it's also an opportunity to begin something. So I want to share with you an example regarding Stephanie, who is my co-leader in the Moonbeam Yoga teacher training. Most of you know her, and Jeff, you even met her at some point last year. I remember you guys meeting. So Stephanie has been going through a lot of emotional stuff this past year. She's actually been separated from her husband like a year and a half or 2 years. They finally decided to go ahead and move forward with the divorce last year. She thought it was going to happen in January. And I was real hopeful that was going to happen because eclipse seasons usually bring those kind of massive changes too. It didn't happen. In fact, it got a little bit more dramatic. And last year when we were doing the teacher training, we had decided we were going to extend it and make a 300-hour training on top of the 200-hour that we do. And, you know, I'm the kind of person that's like, I'm an Aries, you know, so I need something to focus on. I'm really ambitious. I put a lot on myself and I really want to get things done. And I want momentum to keep me moving forward. And so all last fall, I was trying to pinpoint her down and say, okay, let's create dates. Let's go ahead and plan it. Let's solidify it. Let's announce it. Let's get it out there because then we're bound to stick with it. And she wouldn't answer my phone calls. She wouldn't answer my texts about it. When we finally talked, we would divert away from the subject. And in December, I finally was like, are we going to do this or not? And she was like, you know, she had just gotten all the discovery questions. If you've been through a divorce or been through legal matters and you get discovery questions, it's so stressful. I've been through it. So when she told me that was going on in December, I'm like, oh girl, like I'll back off. You got to deal with this. This issue needs all of your focus right now. I'll just back off. And I have backed off. But last month, she finally got the divorce. So I was like hoping we'd get this rolling, right? So I called her last month. Okay, I'm like, ready, let's go. And she was like, well, I need to wait 30 days because, you know, I put in there that I wanted permission to move. And her idea was either to move here or to Savannah, where got her yoga teacher training, where she knows people, where she feels comfortable. And of course, my hope was that she would land here. And last weekend was her birthday. She was supposed to come out and celebrate, and she didn't. And I was concerned. And I even told Rob, I'm like, if I don't hear back from her, I'm driving to Chattanooga. She has no support system. She's going through a really hard time right now. Well, we finally talked on the phone after her birthday, and the universe just completely showed up for her. I mean, she'd been in this state of like not knowing where she was going to land, where she was going to live, if she could move. All of this was heavily weighing on her. Not only was she granted permission to move, but her mother just retired and decided to relocate to Savannah, one of the two places it was down between. Her best friend just relocated to Savannah and needed a roommate. They found a duplex where the roommate could be on top and her and the children could be on the bottom, saving $500 a month. And she got her old job back at the old studio. So she has friend support, job support, family support. Boom, here you go. Gift from the universe, right? The portal really opened up for her in a big way. So I'm sharing that story because I have watched her go through all of this turmoil for all of these blessings to be bestowed. So when I was listening to this podcast yesterday, it was saying you may be getting some divine intervention. Divine intervention, if something's been weighing on you, if you've been stuck, if you've been stagnant, and things have just not been moving forward, be patient, be prepared. You might get completely changed and transformed. A lot of this energy may be transmuted and gifts may be coming to you. On the flip side, on the negative side of it, it did say some people are going to have to deal with gossip, psychic attacks, and jealousy, things of that nature. So one or the other. I put a little funny thing up on the Facebook page if you want to see it regarding if you're the latter. But anyway, that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to honor this full moon energy. We're going to move a little bit of restlessness out of the body with some movement to start with, and then we're going to start to restore and replenish and receive this energy coming in for us. So we're going to start sitting. I would suggest sitting on a bolster. And notice if you sit right on top of the bolster, the knees may be elevated and the back may want to collapse. So if you scoop towards the edge of it, it'll give you a slight pelvic tilt forward. Your knees will lower. They may or may not touch the floor, but at least it gets more comfortable for your back to sit. Let your arms cascade down to your lap. And then we're going to create a specific mudra for today. We're going to bring the left hand over to the navel. And the right hand's going to sit on top of it with the thumb turned up towards the heart. Okay, this particular mudra is called the Shiva Linga. And this particular mudra is said to help with dissatisfaction, energetic or emotional draining. But it also helps to improve vitality and energization. Sit here for a moment with the eyes closed, your hands in this mudra. Breathing in and out in a diaphragmatic way. Feel your belly moving outward like a Buddha belly on your inhale. Feel it retract and draw in on the exhale. Now, at the same time that you're feeling movement in your belly and chest with this breath, see if you can allow the breath to also balloon your back body. Creating movement all around the circumference of your torso. Letting the lungs fully expand and open as you breathe in. And allowing them to completely exhaust as you breathe out. Gaze in and up into your mind's eye. Anytime we meditate this way, it stimulates the pineal gland. Pineal gland that is related to our intuition. Our own innate wisdom, our inner GPS system. Let's take 3 more breaths. Gently begin to open up your eyes. Bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at your heart. Lace your fingers together and then reach the palms up in the air. Once you reach the palms up in the air, just feel your sits bones resting on that soft pillow. Extend long through your side body. Create space in between each vertebra. Notice certain minor muscles may be waking up in your back. And then exhale, curve over to one side of the body. The side that you're curving towards, lower that hand, it can rest to the floor. Turn the top palm down to face the floor. Just breathing into the side bend. Opening up your physical body with the side stretch. The right side's the masculine side or solar panel. And the left side is the feminine side or the lunar panel. Hatha yoga. Hatha means sun and moon. Let's strike some harmony and balance. Inhale, let's draw back to the top, maybe lacing the fingers again, reaching the palms upward. One more deep breath. Exhale, curve to the other side. That lower hand can slip away to help you to balance. Keep your sits bones rooting down equally. Creating this crescent moon shape with your upper body. The crescent moon is an ancient symbol that represents consciousness. So firm in here as you hold strength and courage. Fill up my body cells. The beautiful thing about the human spirit is that it's strong and resilient. So remember that if you are going through a time frame where things are being destructed, remember after the destruction, there could be construction. Inhale, let's rise up to the top and exhale, release. All right, we're going to come away from that bolster for a moment. We're going to line up in tabletop position. From your tabletop position, hands below shoulders, knees below hips. Extend long through the spine. Draw the navel center slightly in so the belly's heading towards the back body. The same thing can occur if you're really rooting through your shins, ankles, and feet. Once you have a strong tabletop position, we're going to start to maneuver the spine. We're going to start to create some flexion. So as you inhale, sink the belly, open your chest and throat, lifting your eyes up towards the sky. Exhale, drop the tailbone under, scoop in through the belly, arc high through the shoulder blades, and bow your head to the chest. Inhale, moving from the low back to the mid back into your neck. Exhale, beginning the counter again from the low back, moving into the mid back,
and spilling down through the neck. Do that a few more times. Well, this can provide some more mobility in the upper body. And they say the more mobile we are in the upper body, the better the function is of the inner organs. Now come back to that strong tabletop position and curl your toes under, launch into downward facing dog. And from Adho Mukha Svanasana, creating this inverted shape with your body, let your head bow between the arms. Let the energy and the blood flow forward towards the face, towards the third eye, towards the ground. Feel free to imagine a ray of indigo or violet light. Inhale, rock forward to plank, shoulders aligned over the wrists, building up a little strength. And then exhale, power back to downward facing dog. Do that a couple more times, but not rushing it. Inhale, shift forward, lift your head. Exhale, back up and bow your head. Do that one more round. And then just send your knees down to the sticky mat. Untuck the toes and land in extended child's pose. In extended child's pose, the knees can be gathered together or apart. Arms outstretched, they can be active or relaxed, yogi's choice. And we're going to start to move forward into a modified up dog and then return back to this position. So as you inhale, rock forward, keep your hips elevated off the floor, and exhale back into child's pose. Inhale to modified up dog, your hands can stay glued to the mat. Exhale, rock the hips back towards the heels. Do a couple more of those. And the next time you find yourself in child's pose, circle the arms around your legs, palms open at your feet. Curl the forehead slightly in towards your knees, so the shape of your spine is a little bit more rounded. Breathe into the front side as well as the back side of your body, similar to how we were sitting and breathing before. Affirming here as you hold. Release and relax now from all outer involvements into my own inner haven of peace. Inhale, we're slowly going to come up. When we come up, we're going to be a little bit more restorative today, since we're moving towards this full moon. So we just got a little movement in. I want you to grab your bolster. You may or may not need the block, okay? This is what we're going to invite ourselves in. To a back bend with the left knee open, like reclined tree or half butterfly. So if you need that block positioned underneath that thigh, feel free to supply it. If you need a blanket under your head or to cover your body, feel free to utilize a blanket for weight or warmth. I suggest allowing your arms to be more or less alongside your body at an angle, with your palms spun open. No more weight bearing on the wrist. And a symbol for being open and receptive to this portal of transformative energy coming our way. Consider how just looking and observing in nature, if flowers didn't or wouldn't wilt, there may not be any fruit. So there has to be the dissolution of the flower in order for the fruit to grow. The same thing happens within our own body. I believe it's every 7 years, our body cells rejuvenate. The old cells die off, new cells come in. So as you're resting here, considering how this shows up naturally, let this encourage you to surrender, to release, to allow things to depart in order to create space for new people and new situations and opportunities to arrive.
affirming quietly, secure in myself, I accept whatever. Inhale, lift your left knee, or the one that was bent. Some of you are on the right, it's okay. Slide that leg out. Have both legs straight a moment. Feel the difference between the two sides. Notice the side that you had fanned open, it may feel a little heavier, more sedated. Let's create that balance now. Bend the other knee. Fan open from that side. And you may or may not need a block for support. If you need it, supply it. Remember, the block can turn 3 different directions. The air just kicked on, so check in with your body temp. Feel like you're getting cooled down, you're welcome to cover with a blanket. Feel free to give me a wave if you want me to come cover you up. Find yourself, you have permission to rest. That's what restorative begins with, rest. Perfect antidote for stress. The perfect way to get grounded in the present moment. Your mind becomes too active, turn your observation back to your breath. That will help those thoughts dissolve. secure in myself. I accept what I is. Next inhale, let's go ahead and lift the bent knee. And then slide the other foot back. Separate your feet a little bit wider apart. And then windshield wipe the knees one direction. And then lift them up and take them to the other. Let's do that a couple times, just adding in this little twist. Roll over to one or the other side, doesn't matter, you can pick your favorite. And then press our way. You may want your blocks for this one. And you're welcome to turn sideways on your mat if you want the sticky mat up underneath your heels. Maybe the wood floor doesn't feel good, the bones there. But we're going to be folding forward. And because this can be a tough pose, you may want to create Stonehenge with the two blocks and the bolster on top. Because if you're pretty limited in your flexibility, you may just want to lean forward and rest in the prayer hands. You may be able to cross your arms and take the head further down. This may be too high for you, and if you're not feeling much and you want to move more into sensation, take the blocks, the bolster lower, so that you're hinging deeper from your hips, moving into the adductors and hamstrings. I've also seen this with the bolster diagonal up underneath the brow, which actually feels pretty nice. Pick one that suits your body. Remember, we're going to be here for a little bit. So that previous pose was all about opening the heart, being open to receive. Forward folds are about letting go. What do we need to shed from our mind, from our body, from our lives? Be contemplative without being too analytical. Be contemplative without too much self-chatter. Steady breath. We're gonna gather our energy to bring ourselves up out of that fold. You can send the bolstering blocks away for a moment. We're gonna slide your right leg over to your left, bringing your heels back. Sitting up nice and tall and then twisting to your right. Bring your feet forward or twist this way. Yeah. I confused you 'cause I'm hearing you out loud. Exhale, unwind, and we'll just bring the legs over to the other side. Lift up energetically through the crown, start to rotate to your left. When you're ready, unwind. So we're going to be going next to a wall. Those of you at home, if you don't have a wall space, you can do the slide and do it this way. And then when we're doing the tree frog, you can come into it this way. Okay, just to kind of give you a visual of an alternative. But if you have wall space, let's carry the mat over. And you may be already set up. And we're going to do Vaparita Karani, legs up the wall. But before you get into it, let me show you what we're going to do when we come out. So to get in, as a reminder, because you may not have done this in a while, sit towards the corner of your mat, close to the wall, lower to one side, and then just roll. The pose that we're going to do after this one is going to be the stirrup pose, or what I call tree frog. But for now, we're going to have the legs suspended. You might enjoy hands resting on the abdomen. Some of you may enjoy the goddess arms. And some of you may prefer the A-line. If you need a prop under your head, of course, add it in. This pose I always like to do close to the full moon, on or after. Since it's medicinal for insomnia, the full moon can keep us up more at night. This is also a great pose to improve the circulation, to aid the heart, to stabilize the pelvis. And it's a natural sedative for the mind. Calming our nervous system. So let this pose benefit you. Affirming as you hold peace, new energy, new consciousness floods down through my being. Peace, energy, new state of consciousness floods down and through my being. Ready for that hip opener. Separate your feet. Please, hip distance or slightly wider. Walk or slide the feet down the wall. The knees are bent, flared open to the sides. Let your glutes and inner thighs relax. Now, sometimes when I instruct people to get into this pose, I see a few people wanting to go towards a butterfly position with the feet together. So if you prefer that, you're welcome to go there, but I always get a stronger sensation here. We're ending with this pose after that Shavasana. And just to feel the back secure itself down, to allow that sensation to build in this area that correlates back to the element of water. The water that is also influenced by the moon. We're just going to take 3 more breaths. To finish that breath work, roll over to one side of your body, acclimate here, tucking an arm up underneath your head. Be here with the breath. Ready, pressing down with that breath hand, so if you guys to stand, we're going to sit with back support against the wall. So I started the Blissful Flow class with the same Dharma talk, but we did a completely and entirely different practice. We did a flow with a lot of active poses and warmed up for lotus positions, and the lotus representing transformation. We did a shamanic journey at the end with drumming. So if you sit with your back against the wall, the intention of this practice was different, even though we started with the same lead up. This was a practice allowing you to just be more in the state of being versus doing. Forward folds for the release, heart openings for the reception. What's coming in? Ending with a pose that's medicinal around the moon. So remember that pose if you need it this weekend. We're going to end with the same mudra we started with, Shiva Lingam. So bring your left hand to the belly button area, your right hand on top of that. This mudra is often used for healing as well. Take 3 more breaths together, inhaling. Exhaling through the nose or mouth.
Join your hands together now to Anjali Mudra. I'm gonna chant the Om Shanti Shanti today. Feel free to join in if you know it. Take a deep breath in. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We all walk away from this practice being free and at peace from anything out of our control, anything imposed upon us by another, or by any internal worry or concerns of our own. Om peace, peace, peace. Class. Thanks you guys for joining me from home.